Hey everybody. Happy Tuesday. How you doing? It is time for another Tough Love Tuesday. And yeah, this one's been on my mind for probably about 3 weeks now. And that is to talk about the difference between an overblown ego and self-confidence. That a lot of people tend to couch their overinflated idea of themselves in as self-confidence. It happens to the best of us, right? It happens to the best of us. Sometimes, we get excited about something and we're ranting and we're going on and we're not coming from a place of I have the chops to actually back up my claims. It was brought to my attention, like fully to my attention on Sunday when Sarah had that quote, which is now part of my desktop wallpaper. A bird sitting on a tree is never afraid of the branch breaking because its trust is not on the branch, but on its own wings. And so when you think about it in terms of that, your wings are your self-confidence. You've earned your wings, right? Branch is your ego. And it absolutely does happen to the best of us. Um, for instance, if you think that you're going to be a success, most of us are authors, writers, we're all writers here. So if you think you're going to be a big success just because you're you, then that's where you need to get over it. If you're just thinking this because this is what everybody is telling you, but you've yet to publish a book or you've yet to be involved in the community or yet to hone your skill, like how many times as authors do we hear people say when we tell them we're authors or writers, I'm going to write a book. I've always wanted to write a book. Oh, I'm going to do that when I retire. That's coming from a place of ego because we all know it's freaking hard to write a book. Those of us who are sitting here, we've earned our wings. We've taken the courses, we've read the craft books. We come from a place of confidence, but we also know that we are not going to succeed in where most of us are right now just on the strength of our name. We're not Stephen King. Okay. Stephen King is going to sell 1 million books of every book he writes because he's Stephen King, but he's earned his wings. Right. So I think that I'm all ego. No, you are not, Angela. You are one of the less egotistical people I have ever met in my life. Bordering on some serious self-depreciation. So I'm not saying don't brag yourself up. I'm really not saying that. What I'm saying is, how do I put this? If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Also, you're probably not the smartest person in the room, right? Do the work. Earn your wings. Have the chops back up what you're saying. One thing else that I've noticed about people who are ego driven, they can never leave it at the door. So they walk in there immediately thinking they're the smartest person in the room and they're happy to be the smartest person in the room. People like that don't learn anything. They learn nothing because they're too busy flapping their lips. As my grandfather said to me one time when I was little, going through this, where I always wanted to be the one talking, he put his hand over my mouth, told me to be quiet, and he said, "Sweetheart, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. They are meant to be used proportionately. So if you're talking more than you're listening, A, you're not in the right room. B, you're coming from a place of ego, not as a place of, I need to learn something from the other people here." So, Renee, I'm going to use that on your daughter. It's so true. It's so true, and I've heard this. It's funny because when I was thinking about what I wanted to say here today, I started hearing that from other people that I follow on social media. I started hearing those exact words. Um, Told Sarah yesterday, I wish I had her brain. But you know what? You're in that place right now, Renee, so that you can learn from Sarah, not just so that you can help her grow her business, but that she can teach you the things that, I know that I have learned so very much since becoming an admin of heart breathings, just of the back end stuff, of all of the little things that you don't pick up in the courses and the everything else, because I'm in a room with people who are smarter than me. Okay. And smarts don't just mean, for me, they don't just mean publishing smarts. Like I look at somebody like our darling Jenna here. Jenna knows so much about YouTube backend stuff, about how to make beautiful timers, about how to edit videos, all of this sort of thing. And I can learn from her. I can learn these things from her, right? It's like Jody Jean, sweetheart, like I can learn from you things like finances, things like, how to run a successful um, launch campaign. Jenna and Angela both how to run a successful Kickstarter. I am not the smartest person in that room. If I thought that I was, I would be looking for another room. But I also have managed to rein in my ego enough that I never think I'm the smartest person in the room, because even if there's only one other person there, I can learn something. I have had the absolute displeasure of being exposed to people in the last couple of weeks, and you guys heard me say this, I think it was last week, that are very ego driven, that think that the the world is going to give them everything they want just because they are them, that don't have the chops, that did not earn their wings, but just because they show up and look pretty or look handsome or dress nice or whatever, they think that they're going to get, but they never give anything in return. Again, ego driven. Absolutely. It happens to the best of us. I can't wait to teach you about Canada. Right. Renee, you absolutely do. If nothing else, you teach me all the time how to be a better friend. If that's all you can learn from a person, that's amazing. That's huge. We all need to learn from the people around us. If we can't learn anything from them, then I'm not saying not have a relationship with that person, but you need to expand your horizons and not be coming from a place of ego, right? So, I mean, you guys can disagree with me if you want. You can absolutely disagree with me. Diane. See, Diane makes me laugh every day. Every day. She also teaches me not to take myself too seriously. And that's one of Angie's big tricks too. Teaching and teach us not to take ourselves too seriously. But when you're in that room, it's your responsibility to listen more than you speak and speak from a place of experience or, education or something like that. You cannot be speaking from a place of ego, because there are people that I have been exposed to recently. I wouldn't sit and have a coffee with them because all they want to do is talk about themselves. I would not do business with them because I would rather give my money to somebody else who's maybe a little more humble, maybe a little more, that whole, and I use this term extremely lightly as somebody who has an IT background, that whole like alpha male, you know what I'm talking about, where alpha's like the worst thing you ever want to be because it's the first and test subject. But that whole look at me, how important I am, right? Absolutely. Shut up. I love you guys so much. You're so much fun. But this is it. So again, like I did um last week, I'm inviting you to alpha male shudder. Yeah, right. Alphas have so many problems. Hey, in IT, you don't even release it. You definitely don't release a beta. And what do we call the people who read our stories before they even head to the editors? Beta readers. So, your alpha reader is the person who reads it when it's complete trash, right? Zero draft reader. But I invite you to observe yourself. Take a step back when you are with other people and figure out what's coming out of your mouth or what's coming through the keyboard, where it's coming from. Is it coming from a place of ego or is it coming from a place of I've earned my wings? Okay. Remember, two ears, one mouth for a reason. Also, now Renee, you'll know who this is, and Rita will as well. But when I worked for Good Life, which is the largest chain of gyms in Canada, there's like two or three in every major city, or four or five if you're in Toronto. I had the great opportunity to sit down with him. And when I was working there, I was working sales. And he said to me, and some of you have heard this before, he said to me, when you're with a potential client, or in this case, when you're with anybody, ask a question and then shut up. Ask a question and then shut up. Because a lot of us don't listen to listen. We listen to respond. Comes from your ego. It's like your ego is telling you, oh, I already know the answer. I already know what they're going to say. So I'll just formulate mine when it's my turn. I'll formulate all this in my head so that I can say it when it's my turn. When you're speaking to somebody, speak to them, shut your mouth and tell your ego to shut up, because maybe you're not going to get another turn. Maybe this person has had a bad day and they just need to unload, and you're there and you happen to be that person. So shut up, right? This is how you come from a place of having earned your wings as opposed to a place of an overblown ego. Excuse me. It was one of the most toxic work environments I have ever been in my life. Not because of him, not because of him. And yes, Jenna, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It is the same coin. It's the same coin of having earned your wings, right? There is a time when you have to interrupt people, but it should be for self-preservation, not to, make yourself look smarter. I'm not saying that that's what you're doing, Jenna. Absolutely not, because you are definitely not like that. I'm not saying any of you are doing this. And if, for those of you coming in on the replay, please understand, I'm bringing this to you from a place of love, and I am definitely not speaking to any one person in my life, because none of y'all are like this, because if you were, you wouldn't be in my life. Just saying. But speaking up, speaking up for yourself, if you've got people talking over you, that's coming from a place of confidence, self-confidence. Okay? Like I've had to do with this particular person that I have to deal with, who is a complete misogynist, and he only speaks over women. And if he speaks over me, he gets told to shut up, because I'm there in that meeting for a reason. I'm there because of what I bring to the table, because I've earned the right to be at that table, right? So just start observing yourself, because Jenna is a very right. It's a coin and there's two sides. So learning how to speak up or shut up. What situations do you need to do that in? so that you're coming from a place of self-confidence instead of coming from a place of ego. Because if you're just reacting, if somebody ticks you off and you're just reacting, that's coming from a place of ego, right? But if you stop yourself long enough and realize that this person is talking over you because they're trying to overpower you, and you speak up, that's definitely a place of self-confidence, right? But if they pop off and they're just being a jerk, and you know, it's up to you whether or not you choose to take it personally. Okay. Bringing your own chair to the table. That's your wings, okay? Right? Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, I invite you all to pause and observe yourself. Figure out if you're actually listening to a person, or you're just listening to formulate your own answer, so you get, when it's your turn to speak, you already think you know what you should say. Okay? That is It's only gonna serve you. It's only gonna Pausing always serves you, always. But that's all I have for today, because like I said, we were gonna keep these things short, and just as an FYI, once I'm done here, I'm going to be recording Mel's challenge. It will be on this channel, okay? And it's probably gonna go up tomorrow, but it's gonna be a fun one. So I really hope that you all take a peek at that. Thank you so much for being here. I love doing this with you guys, and I love the feedback. Can't take us anywhere. Yes, and Kay, yes, I am asking you to think before you speak. Don't know her. You guys are so awesome. I love you to bits, and I will see you next Tuesday, and hopefully tomorrow, if the recording goes well, because it's been a while since we've done a challenge, but it will be on this channel. So I will see you all, and I'll see you on the weekend for sprints. Okay, take care. Love you to bits. Love you to bits. Where's my outro?